Guy, hoping you can help. I have a gunite pool with white plaster finish, and I see on the bottom of the pool a bunch of brown spots about the size of a dime. And they are circular. Any idea what they might be?
Boy, there's a lot of places to go. Let me try to cover most of the bases. Number one, I'd wonder how old was the plaster finish, if this is the new finish or not. Secondly, the reason I'm asking that was that would indicate how old these potential spots are. But secondly, if it's not just a normal algae, if it doesn't scrub up, it could be topical, which means if it's not an algae, it's probably a metal. And if it's topical, it would be something in the water attaching to the surface, which enough water testing, you'd figure out if there's iron in the water, copper in the water. But I suspect if it's a white finish, and they may appear nice and circular, but I'm wondering, is this from the rebar bleeding through? Because typically spots described like that would be when the pool is shot, the steel is not capped enough with concrete. How you have a rebar shell, and then concrete over it. The concrete completely encases the steel, and that the concrete has compressive strength, the steel has tensile strength, and together they work to not, the pool doesn't crack. But what happens sometimes is if that steel floats close to the surface, you'll get a bleed through of rust, and that could very well be what it is as well. So it's going to be either rust coming through the shell from rebar that's corroding, or it's a chemical in the water, a metal in the water that's depositing in those shapes, or it's an algae. Although brown algae, it's kind of weird to see a brown algae versus either black or like yellows and greens. I guess it's possible it's a mix somehow, but one of those three scenarios. I'll review. Rebar deteriorating in the shell and leaching up an iron deposit, and it creates that look. Secondly would be an iron that's dissolved in the water that's depositing, and it could be depositing for many reasons, just based on the acidity of the water, the calcium hardness of the water, or if this is a salt pool, it could also be deposit based on electrical current. You always run, that's a possible potential, as well as if there's a low voltage in the water, it could be forcing some things out of solution and creating spots, or the other thing would be algae. So that's about all I could think that it would be.